Hello everyone, welcome to Intellify. I am Gurleen Kaur and today we will be doing the chapter The Portrait of a Lady, NCERT Solutions and Extra Questions. Let us see the NCERT Solutions, Understanding the Text. First question is the three phases of the author's relationship with his grandmother before he left the country to study abroad. So, how will you answer this? You can answer this. The three phases of the author's relationship with his grandmother before he left the country to study abroad are: first phase is childhood, when he went to the village school and the grandmother helped him to get ready and went to school with him. The second phase is boyhood, when he went to the city school in a bus. He shared a room with grandmother, but she could no longer help him in his studies. The third phase is early youth, when he went to the university and was given a room of his own. The common link of friendship was snapped. Second question. Three reasons why the author's grandmother was disturbed when he started going to the city school. Answer. The three reasons why the author's grandmother was disturbed when he started going to the city school are: first, she could no longer help the author with his lessons in Western science. Second reason is she was pained to know that there was no teaching of God and the scriptures there. Third reason, for grandmother, music had lewd associations. She thought it was not meant for decent people and gentlefolk. It was the monopoly of harlots and beggars. So we can see that in the city school there was teaching of music, and grandmother didn't like the school that teaching music lessons. Next question. Three ways in which the author's grandmother spent her day after he grew up. Answer. The three ways in which the author's grandmother spent her days after he grew up are: first, she lived alone in her room as she had accepted her loneliness quietly. Second, she sat at her spinning wheel reciting prayers. Third, in the afternoon she would feed the sparrows for half an hour. So these were the three ways in which grandmother spent her days. In this picture you can see the grandmother sitting in her room alone. Next question. The odd ways in which the author's grandmother behaved just before she died. Answer. Just before her death, the author's grandmother refused to talk to them. Since she had omitted to pray the previous night, while she was singing songs of homecoming and beating the drum, she was not going to waste any more time. She ignored their protest. She lay peacefully in bed praying and telling beads. Next question. The way in which the sparrows expressed their sorrow when the author's grandmother died. Answer. Thousands of sparrows sat silently surrounding the dead body of the author's grandmother. There was no chirruping. The author's mother threw some crumbs of bread to them. They took no notice of them. As soon as the grandmother's corpse was carried off, they flew away quietly. Thus, the sparrows expressed their sorrow. So, when the grandmother's dead body was lying in the veranda, the sparrows sat there quietly, and they didn't took notice of the bread crumbs thrown at them by the author's mother, and they flew away quietly when the corpse was taken away. This was how the sparrows expressed their sorrow. Next question. The author's grandmother was a religious person. What are the different ways in which we come to know this? Answer. The author's grandmother was a deeply religious lady. We come to know this through the different ways of her behavior. She visited the temple every morning and read scriptures. At home, she always mumbled inaudible prayers and kept telling the beads of rosary. She would repeat prayers in a sing-song manner while getting the author ready for school. She hoped that he would learn it by heart. She didn't like English school as there was no teaching of God and scriptures. Even while spinning at her spinning wheel, she would recite prayers. Perhaps it was only once that she forgot to say her prayers. It was on the evening prior to her death when she felt overexcited while celebrating the arrival of her grandson with songs and beating of drum. She continued praying and telling beads of her rosary till her last breath. So through her life and various instances, we come to know that the author's grandmother was a very religious lady. Question: describe the changing relationship between the author and his grandmother. Did their feelings for each other change? So how will you answer this question is through the various stages of author's life. During his boyhood, the author was completely dependent on his grandmother. She was a part of his life. The turning point in their friendship came when they went to city. She could no longer accompany him to school as he went there by bus. They shared the same room, but she could not help him in his studies. She would ask him what the teachers had taught. She did not believe in the things that were taught at school. She was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. She felt offended that music was also being taught. She expressed her disapproval silently. After this, she rarely talked to him. When he went to university, he was given a room of his own. The common link of their friendship was snapped. However, their feelings for each other did not change. They still loved each other deeply. She went to see the author off at the railway station when he was going abroad for higher studies. She showed no emotion but kissed his forehead silently. The author valued this as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between them. When the author returned after 5 years, she received him at the station. She clasped him in her arms. In the evening, she celebrated his homecoming by singing songs and beating an old drum. So, this is how their relationship changed, but their feelings for each other did not change. Next question. Would you agree that the author's grandmother was a person strong in character? If yes, give instances that show this. How will you answer this? You can write yes, she was a person strong in character, and then you have to give instances from the chapter that approves that she was a strong lady. So how will you answer this? Yes, I agree that author's grandmother was a person strong in character. She was a strong woman with strong beliefs. Although she was not formally educated, she was serious about the author's education. She could not adjust herself to the Western way of life, science, and English education. She hated music and disapproved of its teaching in school. She was a deeply religious lady. Her lips were always moving in a silent prayer. She was always telling the beads of her rosary. She went to temple daily and read the scriptures. She was distressed to know that there was no teaching about God and holy books at Khushwant's new English school. She was a kind lady. She used to feed dogs in the village. In the city, she took to feeding sparrows. Although old in years and weak in body, she had strength of mind. Just before her death, she refused to talk to the members of the family as she did not want to waste her time. She wanted to make up for the time last evening when she had not prayed to God. She lay peacefully in bed, saying prayers and telling the beads of her rosary till her last breath. Next question. Next question. Have you known someone like the author's grandmother? Do you feel the same sense of loss with regard to someone whom you have loved and lost? So you can answer this for yourself. I have here given a sample of how to answer these type of questions. So you can write yes, I have known my grandfather who loved me deeply and looked after me. He had served in the army before he retires. He retired as a colonel 20 years ago. When I was a school-going kid, he was still active and smart. He was fond of walking, jogging, and playing outdoor games. He inspired us to get up early in the morning. He believed that a healthy mind lives in a healthy body. He used to give us food, good physical exercise followed by milk and nourishing food, and then asked us to study for a while before going to school. In the afternoon, he would inquire what we had been taught at the school. He would help us in our home tasks and supervise our reading, writing, and doing sums. He was gentle but firm. He laid stress on good habits and character building. Now we will see short answer type questions. Question number 1. How long had the narrator known his grandmother? Old and wrinkled. What did the people say? How did the narrator react? Answer. The narrator had known his grandmother old and wrinkled for the last 20 years. She was terribly old. Perhaps she could not have looked older. People said that she had once been young and pretty. They said that she even had a husband. So, next question. How did the narrator's grandfather appear in the portrait? Answer. His grandfather looked very old. He had a long white beard. His clothes were loose-fitting. He wore a big turban. He looked too old to have a wife or children. He looked at least 100 years old. He could have only lots and lots of grandchildren. Next question. Which thought about the grandmother was often revolting and for whom? Answer. The narrator's grandmother was very old and wrinkled. She had stayed at this stage for the last 20 years. People said that once she was young and pretty. The narrator couldn't even imagine her being young, so the thought was revolting to him. Thought was revolting to the narrator that his grandmother was pretty and young. Next question. The narrator's grandmother could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Explain the importance of the statement. Answer. She was terribly old to appear pretty. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles. She was short, fat, and slightly bent. She didn't create any physical appeal or attraction. However, in her spotless white dress and grey hair, she was a picture of serenity, peace, and beauty. Next question. Describe how the grandmother spent her time while the narrator sat inside the village school. Answer. The grandmother went to the school with the narrator. The school was attached to the temple. The narrator would learn alphabet and morning prayer at school. The grandmother would sit inside the temple. There she would read holy books. Thus she spent her time before they came back together. Next question. The grandmother had a divine beauty. How does the author bring this out? Answer. The grandmother's silvery locks scattered untidily over her pale and wrinkled face. This made her look like an expanse of pure white serenity. She had a divine beauty. She looked like the winter landscape in the mountain. Here, the author uses the phrase winter landscape in the mountains to describe the grandmother's beauty. Winter landscape in the mountains refers to the silvery locks of grandmother scattered untidily over her pale face and wrinkled face. So this is how the author describes her beauty, referring to the winter landscape in the mountains. Next question. Draw a comparison between village school education and city school education. Answer. Elementary education was given in village school. The pupils were taught alphabet and multiplication tables. It was quite simple, confined to the 3 R's: reading, writing, and arithmetic. In the city school, English, science, and music were taught. Unlike village school, there was no teaching about God and scriptures. Next question. Why did the grandmother take to feeding sparrows in the courtyard of their city house? Answer. In the village, she used to throw chapatis to the street dogs, but there were no dogs in the streets of the city. So she took to feeding the sparrows in the courtyard of their city house. Next question. What was the happiest moment of the day for the grandmother? Answer. The happiest half hour of her day used to be the time when grandmother fed the sparrows. She would sit in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits. The sparrows would collect around her. They chirped noisily. Some perched on her legs and shoulders. Some even sat on her head. She relished this game. She never shooed them away. So, feeding the sparrows was the happiest moment of the day for the grandmother. Next question. What was the last sign of physical contact between the author and the grandmother? Why did the author think that to be the last physical contact? Answer. The grandmother kissed Khushwant Singh on his forehead. The author thought that this was perhaps the last sign of physical contact between them. He was going away for 5 years. She was extremely old, and at her age no one could never tell whether she would be alive for long. Next question. How did the grandmother see the narrator off at the railway station? Answer. She was not at all sentimental. She kept silent and didn't show her emotions. Her lips moved in prayer and her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. She only kissed the narrator's forehead. He cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between them. Next question. Why didn't the grandmother pray in the evening on the day narrator came back home? Answer. There was a strange change in her behavior. She was overexcited. She celebrated the arrival of her grandson. She collected all the women of the neighborhood. For hours she continued singing and beating the drum. She had to be persuaded to stop to avoid overstraining. Perhaps it was the first time that she didn't pray. Now we all know that grandmother was a religious lady. She would pray every day, but on the day when the narrator arrived after 5 years, she skipped her regular schedule and she sang the homecoming of warriors. Next question. How did the grandmother die? Answer. The grandmother realized that her end was near. She continued praying. Her fingers were busy in telling the beads of her rosary. She lay peacefully in bed. She did not talk to anyone. After some time, her lips stopped moving. The rosary fell down from her fingers. She died peacefully. Next question. How did the sparrows pay their last homage to the grandmother? Answer. The grandmother lay dead. Thousands of sparrows came there. They did not chirrup. They paid their last homage to the old lady silently. She used to feed them regularly. The narrator's mother threw some crumbs of bread to them. They took no notice of them. As soon as the grandmother's corpse was carried off, they flew away quietly. So this was how the sparrows paid their homage to the grandmother. Now we will see long type question answers. Question 1. What image of the grandmother emerges from the portrait of a lady? Answer. Khushwant Singh's grandmother has been portrayed as a very old lady. She was short-statured, fat, and silently bent. Her face was wrinkled, and she was always dressed in spotless white clothes. She was a deeply religious lady. Her lips were always moving in a silent prayer. She was always telling the beads of her rosary. She went to the temple and read the scriptures. The grandmother was a kind lady. She used to feed dogs in the village. In the city, she took to feeding the sparrows. She had great affection for her grandson. She looked after him in the village. She could not adjust herself to the Western way of life, science, and English education. She hated music and was distressed to know that there was no teaching about God and holy books at Khushwant's new English school. On the whole, she was a nice, kind-hearted, and religious lady. So this is all the traits we come to know from the chapter and the events which are happening in the chapter about the character of grandmother. Next question. Write a character sketch of the author's grandmother by using following words: affectionate, caring, kind and benevolent, religious, a strong woman. Answer. Khushwant Singh's grandmother was a very old lady. She was short, fat and slightly bent. Her face was wrinkled. She had white hair. She was very affectionate. She was closely involved in bringing up the author. The two lived in the village. She was a caring grandmother. She would wake him early in the morning and get him ready for school. She served him breakfast and took him to school. She waited for him in the temple. She prayed while he studied. She returned with him. She was kind and benevolent. She used to feed dogs in the village. In the city, she took to feeding the sparrows. She was a deeply religious lady. Her lips were always moving in a silent prayer. She was always telling the beads of her rosary. She went to the temple and read the scriptures. She was a strong woman with strong beliefs. Although she was not formally educated, she was serious about the author's education. She could not adjust herself to the Western way of life, science, and English education. She hated music. She was distressed to know that there was no teaching about God and holy books at Khushwant's new English school. On the whole, she was a nice, affectionate, kind-hearted, and religious lady. Next question. The grandmother herself was not formally educated but was serious about the author's education. How does the text support this? Answer. The grandmother was quite serious about the author's education. She woke him up in the morning and got him ready for school. She washed his wooden slate. She plastered it with yellow chalk. She tied his earthen ink pot and red pen into a bundle. She took him to school. He studied in school. She waited for him in the temple reading scriptures. In the city, the author went to an English school in a motor bus. When he came back, she would ask him what the teacher had taught him. She could not help him with his lessons. She did not believe in the things taught at the English school. She was distressed to learn that her grandson was being taught music. She considered it unfit for gentle folk. Next question. Gradually, the author and the grandmother saw less of each other and their friendship was broken. Was the distancing in relationship deliberate or due to demand of the situation? Answer. During his boyhood, grandmother was a part of his life. He was completely dependent on her. The turning point in their friendship came when they went to city. Now he went to city school by bus. She no longer accompanied him. As the years rolled by, they saw less of each other. For some time, she continued to wake him up and got him ready for school. When he came back, she would ask him what the teachers had taught. She did not believe in things that were taught at school. She was distressed that there was no teaching about God and the scriptures. She felt offended that music was also being taught. She expressed her disapproval silently. After this, she rarely talked to him. When he went up to university, he was given a room of his own. The common link of friendship was snapped. Now she spent most of her time at the spinning wheel. Thus, we find that distancing in the relationship was due to the demand of situation. The graph of life never follows a straight line. So this was the all about the chapter, and we have covered all the NCERT questions and extra questions also. Thank you.